I've played a little bit of a lot of games. I've played more game intros and tutorials than I can count, but I've probably finished less than 100 games in 30 years. Not because they're bad or boring. Okay, sometimes they're bad or boring. But because I have GameDHD. And you might have it too. So, if you're looking for a new game every day but don't know what to play, you're in the right place. Today we're taking a look at Deadzone Rogue, a roguelike FPS game that's similar to Borderlands, Gunfire Reborn, and RoboQuest. If you find roguelike shooters enjoyable but often too fast-paced, Deadzone Rogue might be a great fit for you. It slows down the genre to require less split-second reactions and a bit more strategy. So, if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. If not, watch anyway. Also, like the video. This is a threat. Deadzone Rogue is a first-person shooter roguelike that takes place over the course of individual rooms of encounters. Defeat every enemy in the room to move on to the next one. Classic roguelike gameplay. Throughout the run, you'll gain upgrades and new gear, and once you've completed the final room, you win. Like I said, this game is a roguelike, which means you'll be starting over from scratch every time you die or finish a run, but you'll also be gaining currency to purchase permanent upgrades to your character across all runs. Health and damage increases, elemental effect chance up, and so on. This game controls exactly how you think it does. WASD movement, space to jump, left click to shoot, and R to reload. I have to start immediately by talking about the gunplay in this game. It's phenomenal. Realistic? Absolutely not, and that's totally fine. We're playing a sci-fi super soldier killing robots in space. Realism went out the door when you open the game. There is almost no kickback or spread for most weapons in this game. All of your shots will go almost exactly where you're aiming unless you're using something designed with spread, like a shotgun. Even the minigun has minimal kickback, meaning you can lay into targets exactly where you want to. And better than that, there's no damage fall off for any distance. Aside from spread shot weapons like shotguns, every weapon is useful at any distance as long as you can aim well enough. It feels fantastic to have an assault rifle and ping 10 headshots in a row from across the map. You can finally pretend to be that professional Counter-Strike player you always wanted to be. I never did, but I thought it would be funny to say. Deadzone Rogue also has infinite ammo, meaning the only thing that stops you from firing is your clip size and reload speed. This is a design choice that's incredibly new player friendly. You'll never run out of ammo no matter how much you spray and pray, and it feels great. You can immediately waste a bunch of ammo when you pick up a new weapon to get the feel for it, without worrying like you're going to run out of ammo by the next fight. The only control that takes some getting used to is the shift button. Most people would assume that shift sprints, and you're not wrong. But instead of just sprinting, you have a quickly recharging dash that leads into the sprint. This dash is vital since your base movement speed is actually really slow. This dash allows you to move into position, take a few well-aimed shots, then dash out of the enemy line of fire. You can also dash in any direction, meaning constantly dashing backwards while shooting forward is a valid and reliable strategy. Everything this game does is to make the player feel like a badass super soldier mowing down hundreds of robots in an abandoned spaceship. Unlike other roguelikes, it doesn't demand game knowledge and practice to win your first run. Rather, it introduces a steady increase in difficulty through difficulties. It's just a difficulty select. There's only 2 zones in the game right now, but each zone has 5 difficulties to play on. Higher difficulties earn you more currency per run to upgrade your character, but they're not required. So if you're struggling with the higher difficulties, you can play a few more runs on the lower difficulties, grind some currency, and then upgrade your character, get more health, a bigger shield, deal more damage, and then try those higher difficulties again. It's wonderfully crafted to allow the player to tailor the difficulty of the game to their own personal preference. Do you want the game to be harder? Cool, do the higher difficulty with less upgrades. You can even reset your upgrades at any time for more challenge. On top of the difficulties, each zone actually has specialty missions as well to force you to play the game in a new way in exchange for unlocking even more content. The first specialty mission limits you to only using shotguns while fighting only melee enemies. It's like a match made in heaven. And by winning this specialty mission in Zone 1, you actually unlock new augments you can use on your character. We'll get into augments later, but this is even more replayability and even more content in the game. Sure, the map is the same, but the enemies and weapons and goals are different. Now, in gameplay, enemy projectiles move pretty slow for the most part. They aren't hit scan or lightning fast, and if they are, they usually have a very visible, obvious wind-up for you to get out of the way. Most other projectiles you can watch move across the screen, giving you enough time to dash out of the way. Many of them can even be dodged just by walking to the side without even dashing. The game still feels incredibly chaotic at times, however, since the melee enemies are far faster than you are. So you're going to be expected to avoid projectiles while dealing with the plethora of different enemy types running at you. Everything from typical Star Wars-style drones to half-human, half-spider hybrids jumping across the room to cut you in half. There's a heavy emphasis on target priority in Deadzone Rogue. Sure, you can take out the guy across the map who's shooting projectiles at you, but if you ignore that melee enemy that's running at you, he's going to be on top of you and you won't be able to get away. You need to choose who you kill first, or you'll find yourself very easily overwhelmed. Now, the game as a whole is kind to new players, especially if you're new to FPS games as a whole. But that doesn't mean the game is too easy, either. While the projectiles are slow, enemies still deal plenty of damage, and while you do have a rechargeable shield, a single hit or two will take out most of it, especially on higher difficulties. And health doesn't regenerate over time. Health pickups are rare, and the only way to regain health is either making it to the next rest area, where you will get some health back for free and can spend some money to get additional health back, or through various upgrades. So, the game quickly teaches you to take things low and slow. There's no time limit in Deadzone Rogue. Nothing happens to you if you take your time with each room, and this style of gameplay is actually encouraged. Every time you enter a room, you'll immediately enter stealth mode. While in stealth mode, enemies will not react to you, no matter how close you get to them. This allows the player to scope out the room, identify the types and positions of enemies, and find the perfect spot to begin the fight. This has even more added importance since enemies function strictly on line of sight, not sound. If you hide behind a wall and kill the only enemy that can see you, you're safe. No other enemies will come after you, regardless of what weapon you used. It is only when an enemy has seen you that they'll come after you. And there's no distance limit on this. If they see you from 500 feet away between a crack in some crates, they've found you. And keep in mind that once you've been seen, they will never lose track of you no matter where you run. Line of sight means kill or be killed. Luckily, every enemy also has a sound effect that plays when they've noticed you, the most obvious being the classic droids. This kind of feedback is incredible for players who struggle exploring 3D spaces, like myself. An audio cue to tell you, hey, you're in trouble, keeps the player from getting blindsided by an unseen enemy. Helping with the player's awareness is a perfectly accurate radar. Even if you haven't seen an enemy yet, they will appear as a big red dot on your radar. This radar only shows things that are near you, not the entire area, so you'll still sometimes get surprised by a sniper across the map, but this once again plays into the game's strategic gameplay. You know there's an enemy around that corner, and you know he has friends. So you have time to think about how best to handle it before rounding that corner. Think about the enemy types you saw during stealth mode. Think about how to handle each one, reload your weapon, and go for it. Throughout each run, your main methods of progression will be perks, items, and augments. The first thing you'll be offered is your choice of augment. This single choice from 3 options will define your entire run. Now, there's not just a simple list of augments in the game, rather each augment consists of 2 aspects. I call these aspects the style and the effect. The style defines your gameplay. These will be options like hipfire, aiming, short range, or ammo. This will definitively change the way you play the game. For example, if you choose the hipfire option, you'll gain 20% movement speed and 20% reduced spread while not aiming down your sights. Whereas if you chose the ammo option, your magazine size increases by 200%, leading to massive clip sizes for certain weapons. The effect, however, is where these augments become truly unique. Look at how each of these are listed as hipfire crit, ammo crit. They're both crit augments, but their effect is changed based on which style they're attached to. Hipfire crit only increases crit damage when not aiming down sights, but increases the damage by 100%, whereas ammo crit increases your critical damage and your critical chance based on every missing bullet in your magazine up to a max of 50% each. Not only does this change your personal gameplay, but it also changes the type of gun you're going to want to find and use for the rest of your run. The ammo augment will want to use something with a massive clip like a minigun or an assault rifle, whereas the hipfire augment benefits something like a shotgun far more. This choice at the beginning of each run is exciting, and the more of the game you complete, the more augments you unlock to use in future runs. It's such a fantastic way to make each run unique right from the beginning. Now, aside from augments, you'll acquire perks. These will upgrade primary game mechanics. Your health, your shield, your grenade, specific elemental damage types. You'll start by picking 3 primary perks. These are also pretty build defining. If you pick the electricity primary perk, you'll probably want to be using an electric element weapon. You get 3 primary perks throughout the beginning of your run, and once you have those, you'll start being offered secondary perks. These just add on more goodies based on the primary perk you picked up, plus usually a flat damage increase. It lends the run to feel more like you're consistently gaining power and progression, rather than feeling like you plateau at any given point, or you're just waiting for the perfect upgrade to show up. Deadzone Rogue is constant progression throughout the entire run. The final upgrade type is items, and these can be bonuses to just about anything. Deal more damage while you're in the air. Money you pick up also refills your current clip. Move faster when enemies are close by. There's a really good amount of them too. You'll rarely see the same upgrade twice in one run, and when you do, it might be an epic version of that upgrade, giving twice the bonus it normally does. Now, while you're jumping, shooting, and upgrading, it's all meaningless without a solid aesthetic to the game. The music? I'll be honest, is barely there. I actually had to turn down everything else just to hear it, and it's this okay synth with a beat behind it, but it's mainly just background noise. The game thrives in an ambient void filled with gunfire, and the music doesn't take away from that, so it's fine. The rest of the audio, however, is incredible. Every shot, every dash, every jump sounds fantastic. There's kick and oomph to the gunfire, and you can really hear the difference between a shotgun and a minigun. Even the starting pistol has a fantastic punch to its sound effects. And when you're powerful at the end of the run, just listen. The weak point sound effect is especially satisfying. It's not too abrasive or loud to distract you, but when you line up a solid shot with an automatic weapon, it's like music. Now, there is one aspect of the game's audio design that some people would call subpar, or below average, or absolute garbage. But not me. I think it's beautiful. It sends shivers down my spine every time I hear it. The voice acting.
Some kind of Spider-Man. Man-spider? Let's go with that. This colony ship sucks. No cocktails. This place sucks. Half man, half spider. All dead.
Absolute cinema. And that's Deadzone Rogue, a shockingly addictive roguelike that I picked up on a whim and have absolutely no regrets about buying. Also, the entire game is co-op. You can do all of this with up to 2 friends alongside you. I played it multiplayer and it worked great. My friends said they had some mild stuttering, but aside from that, they had no problems and none of it was game-breaking in the slightest. At the end of the day, would I say this game was worth playing to satisfy my GameDHD? Absolutely. It has a few flaws, but they're easily masked by fluid gameplay, wonderful progression both in and outside of runs, as well as just plenty of content to keep you playing until you're satisfied. All of this is just early access too. If the devs keep supporting this game, I could see it becoming a staple in the roguelike shooter genre, especially for those who want more multiplayer options to play. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to support more of this kind of content, consider subscribing and leaving a like on the video. I also have a Patreon if you want to support me financially. This channel isn't earning revenue yet, so that kind of support helps immensely. I'm going to try to get one of these videos out every week if I can, but we'll see how much time they actually take to make. At the end of the day, I had more fun making this video than I have in quite a while, and I hope I can make even more of them going forward. That's all from me. Be a good person, y'all. Take care.